4 things I know are true. Stanford going out in the second round was shocking. Gonzaga losing in round 2 was pathetic. Kentucky getting bounced by UAB, well, that was the worst of all. And I'm Tony Reality. It killed my bracket, and Ashley Judd lost the only role she's ever been good in. Come on.
It's Around the Horn, the show of competitive banter. Here's Tony Reality.
Welcome back to the show where the top seeds get upset on a daily basis. Besides the tournament, we're talking Sapp in Oakland, Carmelo on the bench, and Ty Law infuriated with Bill Belichick. All with our national crew. Let's check them out. At the Los Angeles Times, it's Bill Plaschke. We salute you, Bill. At the Denver Post, it's Woody Page.
You can't believe Stat Girl is such a tool.
That was totally okay, come on. At the Chicago Sun-Times, it's Jay Mariotti.
You know, I picked Xavier, and Jed Clampett over here picked Murray State. Who knows more about who?
We'll get to that in a second. At the Boston Globe, it's Michael Holley.
Hey, don't play Greg Lazinski to our Veterans Stadium, okay?
Absolutely right. All right, guys, let's make it happen.
It's the first word.
First words are bracket busters. An all-chalk first round turned into madness over the weekend with 2 of the top 4 seeds and 4 of the top 8 going down. 2 seeds, Gonzaga and Mississippi State, got their doors blown off, but that was nothing compared to the choke jobs by the top seeds. Stanford lost to Alabama, the 7th team in the SEC, and the overall #1 Kentucky lost to a team with guys named Mo and Squeaky. Let's get right to it, boys. Who blew it the most this weekend? Around the horn to Bill Plaschke.
I'm so ashamed to be from the West Coast today. West Coast basketball, I agree, is horrific. Stanford blew it the most. For the 4th time in the last 5 years, they have lost to a lower-seeded team in the tournament. This time up 13 with 9 minutes left, and they blow the game. Stanford's supposed to be the smart team, the cool team, the composed team. I think Mike Montgomery's got to look in the mirror on this one. Stanford, Alabama's a very average team, and just took them right to the woodshed.
You're right about this much. I'm tired of staying up and all you people telling me, stay up, watch our teams out there. I'm not staying up anymore. It stinks out there. Everything's overrated out west. But here's where you're wrong, though. Here's where you're wrong. Kentucky had the most to lose here. Stanford was vulnerable to quickness. Kentucky was anointed as the very best team in this tournament by the committee, and they lose to a team that pressured them. This is an old Nolan Richardson team, 40 minutes of hell. UAB just a week earlier lost to DePaul, and now Kentucky is beating them. No, Kentucky fell hard. That's going to be the biggest upset of this tournament.
Wait a second. Reverend Bill, you could change your church, but you are still wrong. Let me tell you about the team. The Zags Zucks. They were terrible against Nevada. Steph was 3 for 18. Here was a team that wasn't upset. It was a setup. They didn't even show up for the NCAA tournament. They were about not getting a #1 seed. They should have been a 6th or 7th or 10th seed. Gonzaga did not do the job they talked about doing. In the past, they were Cinderella. This time, they were the Wicked Sisters. They were awful.
Hey, Woody.
See that team? They were out-hustled by Nevada.
Hold on. You know you're my man. I got to set you straight here. Mariotti's right. It's Kentucky. You know, since 1979, Kentucky has been the #1 seed 9 times, and this is the first time Kentucky didn't make the Sweet 16. We can't be as hard on Kentucky as Kentucky fans are going to be on them, but let me spin this for you here. Why are we surprised? I respect Billy Packer and his opinion, but this is not the year to be ranting about undeserving #1 seeds, because you know what? Who's deserving? Tell me that. No one is deserving, so we shouldn't be surprised that Kentucky went down to UAB, and we shouldn't be surprised anything else.
No, it's disappointing, Michael, Kentucky's defense. I mean, UAB ran right through them. I would expect the Tubby Smith team to be technically sound. That team was not technically sound at all.
Okay.
And what do you pick? Gonzaga
That's
last
all right,
week.
though. He can pick them. They still disappointed. Plaschke, last word.
I don't want to hear one more college coach complaining about players going to the NBA early. This has improved the college game. It's much more fun than it's ever been.
Good.
You're right.
All the games were close. And don't forget, Kentucky had some problems with FAMU in the first game. They had up 50 points in the first half. Biggest choke job, though, NC State up 10 in the last 3 minutes. The flagrant foul and the fouling of the three-point shot.
That was a bad call.
They blew it big time. You're right, though. Let's move on. How upside down was the first weekend of the tournament? Jay Mariotti has all his Final Four teams left.
Yep.
Pretty much everybody else who wants to win the office pool needs Final Four appearances by Duke, who looks very much like Duke always does this weekend, and or UConn, who's finally beginning to look like the team they were supposed to be all year long. Fellas, who's the tournament favorite right now? Around the horn to Michael Holley.
Let me tell you, Tony, Mariotti is very funny. He's got to tell you he's got his Final Four teams left. But you know what? I do too. I gave you St. Joseph's last week. I gave you Duke. I gave you Georgia Tech. And the winner, UConn. You know why? It's very easy. I'm going to contradict myself. They are the dominant team in the tournament. They got the best coach in Jim Calhoun. They got the best player in Okafor. And you know what? Ben Gordon is going to do for UConn this year what Rip Hamilton did in '99. Big-time score. Led them over Duke. It's not even close. UConn is going to beat St. Joseph's in the final.
Calhoun is the best coach? No,
Yes,
I think it would be
far.
Mike Krzyzewski. 3 national titles and 1 for Calhoun. Come on, Michael. You got to worry about Okafor's back. He was fine over the weekend. They didn't play anybody over the weekend. That's the X factor in the tournament. Duke, I've seen this somewhere before. Reddick is now getting hot. He was in a slump late in the year. Now they did a shooter's intervention. That's what they're calling it. You've got the inside guys, Williams and Randolph. The X factor in Deng. I'm telling you, they're going to beat.
All right, but you said they didn't play. Duke hasn't played anybody either. Alabama State and Seton Hall. Woody Page, what do you say?
Well, first of all, John Thomas there in Chicago is all wrong. It is Connecticut. Michael Holley's correct. He has been here. I'm talking about Jim Calhoun 10 times. He's never had a front line. You keep talking about Okafor. How about that Paris Hilton guy? How about Charlie? How about Josh? We're talking about 4 guys that go 6'10" or higher, and they're still not going to play anybody. They got Vanderbilt. They've got Syracuse ahead. This is such an easy track to the Final Four. You gotta like Connecticut.
Wait, Woody, how is Syracuse an easy track? Syracuse beat UConn the last day of the regular season. How's that such an easy track?
Good point,
the best team left, the team that's going to win is Oklahoma State, the team I said was going to win last week. I stand by my pick. This tournament's about guards and it's about toughness. You've seen this already. Oklahoma State's got both of those. Tony Allen and John Lucas are great guards. They have Ivan McFarland down deep. They're a very tough. They're like a football team out there. They've outscored their opponents about 37 points in the last 3 halves of basketball. They're on a roll. Oklahoma State.
This is about coaching and talent. Duke has the most talent across the board, and they've still got the best coach. I don't care what Holly says.
What do you think?
What do you think for?
Go get it, Woody. What this tournament is proving is there really is parity in college basketball. You can no longer stash players with that 13-player scholarship rule, and you're seeing it spread out throughout the younger
Very
teams.
fair point. All you people who said Duke is the favorite, you better hope so, because that ACC, I don't know about it so far. They could have lost every game they've played when Duke hasn't played so far. So much for the strongest conference so far. More from you guys in a minute. Hold on, because coming up, Melo pulled a Scottie Pippen over the weekend. Did it cost him the Rookie of the Year? Plus, Ty Law talks serious trash about Bill Belichick. Can the Patriots tolerate his big mouth? Stick around.
Buy or sell.
All right, buy or sell time. Let's see what we got. Leading off. After a brief flirtation with the Cincinnati Bengals, Warren Sapp agreed on Saturday to a 7-year, $36 million contract with the Raiders. Oakland, which also signed former Patriots D lineman Ted Washington this offseason, expects Sapp to improve a run defense that ranked dead last in 2003. Guys, buy or sell the Raiders' signing of Sapp? Flash key.
I'm selling this. It's $7 million bonus. That's more than $1 million a sack. He had 5 sacks last year. This is like Bruce Smith going to the Redskins. Sapp can't get to the quarterback anymore, and he and Ted Washington were stuck in the middle there. Nah, it's bad time.
Woody Page.
I want lighting like Plasky has. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm buying this. You got 2 outstanding defensive linemen. They've signed 2 linebackers. They got Woodson back. I think the Raiders are making some major advances. This is not a team I like, but they made some major advances defensively. They've shorn up what was a bad defense, and they lost.
Mariotti.
No, you need to make a psychological statement when you're the Raiders. They have done it with Ted and Warren Sapp. I'm buying this, Tony. Plus, the number 2 pick in the draft, either Williams or Fitzgerald, will help the passing game. They'll score more points. They will be better next year.
Michael Holley.
You have to buy this. Ted Washington is going to command double teams, which is going to free up Warren Sapp. They've also got John Perella, don't forget that. And the X factor is their new defensive coordinator, my man Rob Ryan, who's going to bring a lot of pressure and free up Sapp that way, too.
Good move for the Raiders. Probably a better move for Sapp would have been to go to Cincy, though. I think he'd win a lot sooner in Cincy than he would in Oakland. Let's move on. As first reported by Around the Horn's Mountain Bureau, the Denver Post, Carmelo Anthony refused to enter the game in the 4th quarter of Friday night's blowout loss to Detroit. The rookie later apologized for losing his cool, but Bernie Lincecum of the Rocky Mountain News thinks that's not the only thing Anthony's lost.
Great writer.
As the Nuggets dim,
Tremendous writer.
The glow around Carmelo Anthony seems less a halo than a nightlight. Clearly gone is the honor for top NBA rookie, lost to LeBron James. James appears a leader, Anthony a powder. So, guys, do you buy or sell Carmelo's poor decision against Detroit affecting his Rookie of the Year's chances? Woody?
I'm selling this. Mariotti has no clue about writers, but I'm selling this not because of that. He had no chance. It was LeBron, the way he's brought Cleveland around. Nobody's going to remember at voting time what happened in Detroit. They're going to remember what happened at the end of the year, and James is coming on and Carmelo's going down.
Well, his team is at least. Okay, what do you say, Mariotti?
I'm selling this. This will come down to who makes the playoffs. They're both about equal. Their numbers, it's creepy. Right across the board, individually, the same numbers. Like last year, Stoudemire won Rookie of the Year because Phoenix went to the playoffs. Yao didn't. Same deal this year.
Michael Holly.
These guys are absolutely right. You have to sell it. This had nothing to do. His incident in Detroit has nothing to do with it. Carmelo's team is moonwalking out of that playoff spot, and LeBron's team is going to make the playoffs. Probably even get the 6th spot in the East, unbelievably.
All right, Flashkey.
No, you guys are wrong. I'm buying this. First, I'm buying Bernie. Bernie dominated in Chicago, now he dominates in Denver. Bernie
Why did he leave Chicago?
And I'm also buying this because look at Barry Bonds several years ago. Should have been MVP. He wasn't voted MVP because fans thought he was a jerk. Not fans, writers. They'll think the same thing here.
All right, guys, and let's keep it clean. Come on, let's move on. On our last show of last week, we asked for the one team that would pull the big upset over the weekend and be the big story on Monday. 1. How about 4? UAB, Alabama, Xavier, and Nevada all did the deed, and now all 4 are being fitted for that magic slipper. Guys, let's talk Nevada because it's the only game I got right all weekend. Buy or sell the Wolfpack as the surprise team with the most run left in them. Mariotti.
Now, I'm going to say here, right bracket, wrong team. It's UAB. Did you watch the Kentucky game?
Right.
They'll give Kansas the same fits, potentially, that they gave Kentucky. And then who do they get? Maybe Nevada, maybe Georgia Tech. Either way, that's the smoothest of your 4 candidates here.
Okay, Michael Holly.
I'm going to sell that. Nevada had a nice run. It's going to end against Kansas. But I'll tell you who's going to win. I'll tell you, Xavier with Lionel Chalmers. Look out for Lionel Chalmers. Texas cannot match up with that guy. He's awesome.
Nevada, though, against Georgia Tech there, Michael Holly. Flashkey, what do you say?
I'm going with Holly with Xavier. The reason they won 15 to 16 games, including they've beaten Mississippi State, Cincinnati, and St. Joe in the last couple of weeks. A lot of seniors on that team. They could give Duke a run for the money.
Wow. Woody Page.
I got to agree. These 2 guys are right. The X-Men, those 5 Musketeers. Xavier with Big Train. Lionel, Big Train. He is the best player in the tournament so far. Yes, Xavier.
I think Xavier's been the hottest team all year long, or at least for the last 16 games, so they look very good as well. Let's move on. One constant of the Patriots offseason has been Ty Law running his yap. First, he wanted a contract extension. Then, when negotiations stalled, he wanted out of New England. Now he's calling Patriots coach Bill Belichick a liar who's out to ruin his career. Law said this and a whole lot more in a conversation with ESPN's Stephen A. Smith over the weekend. Guys, this sounds serious. Buy or sell Ty Law's relationship with Bill Belichick ever being repaired? Holly.
I'm going to sell it. But guess what? It doesn't make a difference. Bill Belichick didn't make his reputation as a touchy-feely coach. He doesn't mind making tough, controversial decisions. Ty Law has no leverage. He has to come back to New England. He has 2 years left on his contract. And at 30 years old, he's going to have to play well to get another contract. What can he do?
That's true. Flashkey.
I agree with Michael. I'm selling it, but it doesn't matter if they're not friends. Belichick's making the right call. In 1999, they gave this guy a $50 million extension. He had 2 interceptions over the next 4 years. This guy doesn't play well comfortable.
Woody Page.
I got to sell this. Worst law since Judge Roy Bean. I'm telling you, he's got to be moved out. And that's what's going to happen. That's why they'll never get back together, because Law will be gone. That's the law.
I'm selling this is not Lawyer Malloy. It's not Drew Bledsoe. This is Ty Law in the prime of his career. You don't mess with this guy. You're messing with the psyche of the football team. The marketplace is up, Tony. Stiffs like Plummer and Barrett are getting big money. Why not Ty Law?
Well, I think what he wants, though, he wants to get cut so he can go somewhere else. Watch what they did with Malloy last year. They may cut him late, and then he doesn't have a team to go to. All right, let's see what we got. Oh Michael Holly, you're the low man. Any last words?
You're going to rue the day you let me go. You're going to rue the day, babe.
All right, the rest of you guys remain seated. Coming up, Carolina's blue sky set burnt orange on Saturday. Is Roy Williams cursed? Don't flip around. Around the horn, we're after 2 rounds. Here's how they stand. Bill Flashkey has 27 well-lit points. Woody Page has 28. Jay Mariotti finally fixed his collar, and I already rue the day for dumping Michael Holly.
Right now, it's out of bounds!
Leading off, It might not be the street fight that some of us asked for, but there may finally be a resolution to the Phil Martelli-Billy Packer tip. With St. Joe's taking on Wake Forest in the Sweet 16, CBS will assign Wake Forest grad and famed St. Joe's hater Billy Packer to call the game. With all the national interest in St. Joseph's, plus the sidebar of the Packer-Martelli discussion, it was a pretty easy decision, said CBS Sports President Sean McManus. Hey guys, Packer says he has absolutely no problem with the assignment. What do you think, Jay Mariotti?
I have no problem either. You know, we love March Madness. Fact is, ratings have dropped almost in half over the last 15 years. If I ran CBS Sports, absolutely I would exploit this. Just be professional, Billy Packer. Don't pick fights. I was with Phil Martelli over the weekend. I think he's gotten over it now, and I think we'll have some fun with this thing, Tony.
Yeah, Mariotti, you use the exact word I'm using, exploit. This is wrong. This is exploitative. March Madness is about the kids. It's not about the announcers and the coaches. CBS has taken this opportunity to promote itself, to promote Billy Packer, to promote Phil Martelli at the expense of the children who are playing in this game. That's ridiculous.
Come on, go ahead, Woody Page.
I was with Billy Packer, Mariotti, over the weekend, and I'm going to tell you what, I think that he's still bitter about this. This is the move that you make. Journalistically, you put the two of them together. From an entertainment standpoint, you put the two of them together. This is what people want to see.
Last word, Bill Plaschke, quickly.
How fair is it to St. Joe to give them a distraction? They are building in a distraction.
This isn't a distraction. The story is already there. If they didn't do it, it would be a bigger story. Journalistically, they have to do it. Let's move on. All off-season, Major League Baseball has addressed serious issues affecting the game, and here's another one. Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Justin Miller has been told by the honks at MLB that he must wear long sleeves under his uniform. Why, you ask? Miller has over 50% of his body covered with tattoos. Apparently, the tats, which include the words love and hate on his knuckles, are distracting to hitters. Hey guys, I know it's a pressing question, but what is your view of athletes with tattoos, Jay Mariotti?
Well, first, from a baseball perspective here, I mean, hitters have the advantage as it is with steroids, all this body armor. Now, a pitcher can't even have a tattoo. But in general, Tony, I have respect for people who don't wear tattoos. I see a lot of kids, they're 15, 16, they put on a tattoo. 10 years later, they regret it. I see athletes. Michael Jeffrey Jordan never had a tattoo.
All right, here we go again.
Playing the Jordan card, as always. You are absolutely wrong. You don't understand the younger generation. You obviously, neither one of you have ever gone to a nude beach. If you had, you'd see it wasn't just athletes.
I have been to a nude beach.
Everybody who's young. I think the greatest tattoo is on the lower back of women. That is a great tattoo.
Woody.
Okay,
First off, I was at a nude beach. My wife was there. I grabbed my shorts and she said, "Don't you dare!" And we had to leave.
Okay,
but anyway, tattoos are terrible. They're stupid. They're short-sighted. Don't these guys realize most of them don't have to have professional sports lives after the age of 30? They got to go into the business world. Tattoos don't work in the business world.
Reverend Bill Plaschke, America. He went to a nude beach.
Tattoos like Philadelphia and UConn when he had the state of Minnesota on his arm, or dunking Fred Flintstone on Greg Ostertag. Come on, those are ridiculous. Let's see what we got. Looks like it's going to be you, Jay Mariotti. You're done. Last word.
For that admission, Bill deserves to go out.
You shouldn't have played the Michael Jeffrey Jordan card. It's going to be Plaschke and Woody Page in Showdown next, but coming up. Can Paris Hilton recover from an equestrian mishap in time for the NCAA final round? Stay tuned. All right, showdown time. Today, a battle between Woody and Bill Plaschke. No more nude beach stories, Bill Plaschke. Let's lead off. Okay, Mariotti, maybe slump is a good word for it. Tiger Woods tied for 46th this weekend at Bay Hill. Meanwhile, bad news for fans in the city Mariotti loves to hate. Mark Pryor could start the season on the DL with Achilles tendonitis. What's more likely to happen in 2004, guys? Tiger winning a major or the Cubs winning the NL? 15 seconds, Plaschke.
Oh, the Cubs are going to win the NL. Tiger's not going to win a major. The Cubs are loaded. The Cubs have clearly the best team on paper. They have the right charisma. They have the right chemistry. Tiger's got none of this right now. Ever since he's been engaged, he has none of this.
You don't understand. Tiger's courses are set up perfectly this year at the British Open, the U.S. Open, the PGA, and he's going to win the Masters. Meanwhile, the Cubs have all their pitchers having either ER problems or heel problems. I don't think there's any doubt that
ER problems?
I can't even believe ERA, of course. I can't even believe what I'm hearing here. Tiger wins a major or the Cubs? It's been thousands of years. Tiger Woods will win before the Cubs. Come on, let's move on. With 43 points against BYU, Syracuse sophomore Jerry McNamara got himself off to an impressive start in the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, Xavier's Lionel Chalmers scored a career-high 31 against Mississippi State on Sunday. Guys, who has been the player of this year's tournament so far? Woody, 15 seconds, go.
Tony, you know it's Lionel. He was 11 of 13 in his last game. He hasn't missed a three-pointer in practice the other day. He made 28 in a row. He is on a roll. So is Xavier. He's the reason why.
No, Woody, it's Jerry McNamara. A, he won a game all by himself against BYU, and secondly, then he won a game with his smarts against Maryland. He led that team against Maryland. A lot of pressure on Syracuse, playing at altitude. McNamara held them together. They've got a chance here because of him.
First things first, it's Xavier, and then also you're a guy what he did in practice. What are we talking about? Practice here? Jerry McNamara filling the void of Carmelo Anthony. It's just been remarkable. Let's give the point to Plashke there. Finally, shucking Roy Williams and all his Tar Heel town couldn't get it done on Saturday when they lost to Texas in the second round. Meanwhile, Bob Huggins and Cincy were shown the door after being routed by Illinois. Hey guys, which coach has had the more disappointing career, Williams or Huggins? 30 seconds for the game, Plashke.
The last 13 years, Bob Huggins has had 11 NBA draft picks on his team. He's had one of the top 5 winning percentages in college basketball, and yet he's gone to the Final Four just once. I think he has become a huge disappointment. His team's always choking.
Okay, Bill, that's what you want to go with? Yeah. Last year, Williams had 2 #1 picks from
and he went to the finals.
This year, he's got 3 guys that are going to the NBA. The guy never wins an NCAA championship. Obviously, it's Roy Williams. If you watch...
But he's been there.
But he's been there, and something has to be said about getting to the final game. 7 of the last 8 years, he doesn't make it out of the first weekend, Huggins. Point goes to Plashke. That's going to do it. You're the winner, Bill. 15 seconds are yours. Go.
On this date in 1967, an athlete did something that no athlete today would ever dream of doing. Muhammad Ali was stripped of his heavyweight title because he refused to be inducted into the armed services because of his beliefs. He stood by himself and he sold out and he lost. He did not sell out and he lost all kinds of marketing and commercial endorsements. Cheers to him forever. And cheers to you, Bill. That's going to do it, folks. We're in a 23.5-hour break. We'll see you Tuesday around the Horn.
Woody, it's Xavier.
Around the Horn is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
That's your dream job right there.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon, and with so much great college hoops to discuss, I can't think of a single reason you wouldn't watch our show today.
I'm the hateable Dan Le Batard. I can think of one.
God, killing yourself. What is that?
It dilutes the hateability by alleging hateability. Allegedly.
Welcome to PTI. Mr. Comeover has a day off to recover from Dream Job. So I'm joined by our good friend, the occasionally irritating but never hateable Dan Le Batard of the Miami Herald. In today's show, we discuss upsets, favorites, and long shots, but we have to start with Kentucky being upset by Alabama Birmingham. Kentucky was not only the top seed in the St. Louis Regional, but also the top seed of the entire tournament. If it looked like Kentucky was dealing with 40 minutes of hell, it's because UAB's coach, Mike Anderson, worked for Nolan Richardson at Arkansas. Dan, it also looked like UAB's players were just as talented as Kentucky's, which leads me to this. Reputations aside, was this really a big upset?
Yeah, given the dilution in this sport, the only way you can get upsets now is if a 16 beats a 1 and maybe occasionally if a 15 does it too. But anything after that, you're looking at the NFL. You're looking at the Bengals. If they win one week, it's not a surprise anymore.
So it's not a stunning upset. The best players coming out of their senior years of high school often now go to the NBA. So a program like Kentucky or even Duke, Arizona, the best programs who have sustained themselves on great players, and this is the Jim Boeheim theory, they don't get the best, the mega player anymore, because Amari Stoudemire didn't go to one of those schools. LeBron James didn't go to one of those. And so you have so many players leaving early, the field is so even
Well,
now.
What does UAB have to be afraid of in this situation? You've got Kentucky with 4 guys who are very nice players, but nobody who jumps out at you like a Carmelo Anthony. You see how relaxed they were playing? You cannot make the play that they made. The best play I've seen in this tournament in 10 years.
The Twins?
Where you're catching Wonder Twin powers activate in the form of a just completely absurd play.
Look at this.
Look how still relaxed. If you do that with those 10 guys trying to do that, the 10 guys on the court trying to do that, you can't do that as smoothly as well as
Kentucky doesn't have a first-team All-ACC player, and all these kids play against each other in the AAUs. There are no secrets anymore.
They play discipline, but they don't have a champion player. Mike, there's disappointment, there's profound disappointment, and then there's the feeling PTI fans feel at their core, the core of their soul, when they tune in excitedly and find me sitting in Kornheiser's chair. Fans of Gonzaga, Mississippi State, and Stanford are hugely disappointed today. For you, what has been the tournament's biggest disappointment?
Well, you named 3 pretty good ones, but I'm going to go with North Carolina State, a team I thought could get to the Final Four. I didn't pick NC State. But Julius Hodge is such a wonderful college player. I thought he was the kind of guy who could take a team, lift it on his shoulders, and just take them through the tournament. And when he fouled out yesterday, NC State simply fell apart.
Well, especially the way they lost. You're talking about the most disciplined team in the tournament. They play a Princeton style of basketball, don't turn the ball over, make very few mistakes, and then they
make
just
their free throws. They shoot 75%.
They just melt. But how about the whole left side of our country for a disappointment? You're talking about
the West.
You're talking about Stanford. You're talking about Gonzaga. What UCLA used to be good at this sport. What happened? There's legitimate reason for us not to pay attention to the West.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I understand why nobody West was any good. The state of Alabama right now has more teams in it than the entire region west of the Rockies.
Right.
I don't get this, but here's what I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about East Coast bias from one NCAA coach west of the Rockies. I don't want to hear any of our column colleagues call up and say, oh, you guys don't stay awake long enough to watch the West. What would be the point?
Well, how dreadful was the Pac-10 this year? You got the best team doing what we expected. Like we were saying that Mike Montgomery's team was going to do that. Everybody expected them to fold up once they started struggling against the Washingtons of the world later in the season, and they did exactly what we thought.
Okay, enough about who's gone. Let's deal with who's left. Duke, UConn, Oklahoma State, Kansas, and Illinois have not been seriously threatened through 2 rounds. Duke has won its 2 games by an average of 32 points. Oak State looks like it should have been awarded a top seed. Pitt won essentially a road game against Wisconsin. So, Dan, who do you think is the strongest team left?
I'm going to always go with the team who has the 2 best players, and I think UConn has the 2 best players. But I would say to you that Xavier is a school that we've sort of ignored here. You ignored them on your list here. They were very impressive against Louisville. I had Mississippi State. They're my biggest disappointment because I had Mississippi State winning the whole tournament. Yeah. So, I mean, Xavier, we've just sort of forgotten about them, and they've won 14 of the last 15 games.
I'm glad you got Xavier the second time because Al Jaffe would have had you, booted out of here. The strongest team left. Duke looks so impressive, and I got to admit, I had Duke being upset by Mississippi State in that particular region. But Duke looks really strong, even with Chris Duhon and his ribs. The kid is in so much pain, and he's playing. I mean, the wincing on his face, that's part of the whole magic of March to me. But I'm still staying with UConn. I picked UConn beginning of the year. I'm going to go with them because Okafor, even though he's reduced physically, still playing great.
How about how Illinois beat up on Cincinnati? The way that they did it.
24 points.
And that's a team that's lost 1 time since the middle of January. You're talking about a team that's very athletic and blew the doors off of very athletic.
Because let's face it, the Big Ten was not very good either. Michigan State right out of there. Wisconsin home court advantage out in the second round. And Illinois has finished a bunch of times in the top 20 and then disappointed also, but they look very strong.
Yeah,
now.
Or is that Cincinnati looking that bad and doing what they always do?
Could be.
Mike, I think of Nevada, I think of legalized brothels, gambling, sin, and general Wilbonian debauchery.
Yeah, boy.
I don't think Sweet 16. I didn't know anything at all about Nevada before this tournament. Never mind seeing them play. I didn't even know they actually existed. Is this team good enough to win the St. Louis Regional?
I think they could be. When you look at the teams that are left, there's no reason why they can't win. And because they've got players, just because we didn't never heard of them, and excuse me, West Coast coaches, didn't stay up late enough to see them, doesn't mean they can't play. This kid, Kirk Snyder, is 6'6". He looks, to me, as good as any swing man in the tournament field. I don't mean what's left. I mean all 65. Kevin Pinckney, Okeson, we're not familiar with these names. But they can play. They are well coached. How about
the fact that they're allowed to grow up a little bit? You've got a couple of juniors, a senior who's a dinosaur. Right. That's an endangered species in college basketball right now. Is a number 10 seed at this point. Is this surprising to you? I mean, I know we don't know anything necessarily about Nevada.
If you look at the names on the jerseys, yes, it's surprising because you don't know them. We just don't know them enough. But the difference between a number 1 seed and a number 9 seed in this tournament, I just don't see how there's that much difference.
What is the difference? What is the difference now?
It's probably having more depth and a couple of more players who are better early. Maybe schools like Nevada get a late bloomer or 2 we're not accustomed to seeing. But this team has to be very good. The coolest matchup in the Sweet 16 has to be St. Joe's versus Wake Forest. The Hawks and Deacons don't appear to have any issues themselves, but because CBS analyst Wake Forest alum, Billy Packer, made it clear to everybody on Selection Sunday he didn't think St. Joe's deserved the #1 seed. And because Coach Phil Martelli called Packer a jackass, we've got a little sizzle. Dan, by winning 2 games, which is one more than Kentucky and Stanford, and St. Joe's already made Packer eat his word.
They've already done it because they're still around. 2 #1 seeds are gone. But I don't understand this manufactured controversy from this point. What Packer was saying, if I give you right now, if I give you UConn, or if I tell you UConn and St. Joe's are playing on a neutral court, or Oklahoma State and St. Joe's are playing on a neutral court, or even not a neutral court, isn't everybody in the country going to go ahead and say that those two teams are favored?
Yeah, and I don't have any problem with what Billy said. He's paid to be an analyst, and I think he's an honest analyst. But he seemed to go over the top a little bit to the area where he was almost ridiculing St. Joe's. I was uncomfortable with that. And if I'm Phil Martelli, I'm coming right back at Billy Packer just the way Martelli did.
Yeah, well, you've got a #1 seed already. You know what I mean? He's already in the tournament. He beat Texas Tech. Yeah. He beat Bobby Knight. And now I guess you could say that if he beats Wake Forest, if he beats Billy Packer's school, it's sort of an interesting sidelight, but it's more interesting because you're advancing.
All right, we're taking a break, but when we come back, Jay Billis picks the rest of the tournament. Will he stick by his alma mater? And later, Carmelo Anthony sits and sulks. Is it a stain that will stick with him for the rest of his career?
Pardon the interruption. Presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant.
We're going to stay with the tournament by bringing in Jay Billis. And Jay, we're going to go right to the regions and have you pick the rest of the tournament field. Let's start in St. Louis, where UAB, Georgia Tech, Kansas, and Nevada, or maybe it's Nevada, will be playing.
I would go with Kansas to come out of there, Michael, just because I think they've got the most experience. And when UAB puts the pressure on Kansas and traps them in the backcourt and tries to make it a 40-minute, 94-foot game, I think Aaron Miles is going to be the guy that winds up dominating that. I can see him with double-figure assists. And Kansas, over the last couple of years, Aaron Miles and his crew, they're 11-2 in NCAA tournament play. I like them.
So you think they're going to go to the Final Four without Roy Williams? Boy, Kansas going to the Final Four without Roy in his first year would be a little blow, wouldn't it?
But that is a toss-up region now with the upset of Kentucky. I mean, any one of those 4 really can win it, but I think with the experience of Kansas and the fact that they can guard, they've got big guys, they just don't shoot it. That's the only problem. J.R. Giddens and Keith Langford are going to have to hit some shots for them.
Well, let's go to East Rutherford and a team that does shoot it. St. Joe's, Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, Oklahoma State. Who do you like there?
I like Oklahoma State. I think that Oklahoma State-Pitt game is worthy of a regional final. It's going to be in the regional semis. To me, that's a 1 and a 2 seed playing right there instead of a 2 and a 3. And not to take anything away from Wake Forest and St. Joe's, who've both had spectacular seasons and both are capable of making it to the Final Four. I think the overall strength of Oklahoma State will win out there.
You just did take something away from St. Joe's. You said they're not even a 1, not a 2. You said they're a 3 in that regional.
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily that regional, but I felt like Oklahoma State should have been a 1 seed, and I think you can reasonably say that because Stanford and St. Joe's only lost 1 game each, that you honor those 1-loss seasons and the fact that they ripped through their schedules, but they didn't play the same kind of schedules that Oklahoma State played and that Pittsburgh played, and both of them racked up more wins against the top 25 and the top 50 than either of St. Joe's or Stanford.
Jay, let's move to Atlanta, where we're going to see Xavier, Texas, Illinois, and Duke. Illinois has surprised me by the way they played, but is anybody good enough in that region to beat your alma mater?
I think Texas is good enough. It's going to come down to Texas's guard play as to whether they can, 1, beat Xavier and then turn around and beat Duke. I think Duke is going to beat Illinois. Illinois is capable now, but you can't judge Illinois just by putting up 92 on Cincinnati. Cincinnati played perhaps the worst defense of any team in the tournament in that second round game. I mean, they only turned them over 4 times, and it's been like 7 or 8 games since Cincinnati's forced double-digit turnovers from their opponents. Cincinnati has not guarded in the last month and a half, so don't take too much into that. I think Duke will ultimately come out of there. Sheldon Williams will be a little bit too tough, in my opinion, for James Augustine, the left-hander for Illinois, and that could be the difference in the game.
Are you going to apologize now for being a shameless homer?
No, I've picked against Duke a lot of times. Coach K's, I'm on his speed dial every time I pick against him.
All right, let's go to Phoenix here, see if you can get on anybody else's speed dial. Alabama, Syracuse, Vanderbilt, Connecticut. Who do you got coming out there?
I've got UConn. I thought at the beginning of the tournament, and like Michael at the beginning of the year, that UConn was the best team. Even when they were struggling, I still felt like they were the best team. And with Okafor at least getting close to healthy and looking awfully healthy, he's the only guy you got a game plan for on both ends, and the only guy that can change the game on both ends in the tournament. And the only way I see Vanderbilt beating UConn is if, UConn's beaten them the last couple of years. If UConn goes in there thinking it's going to be easy, because Vanderbilt can play, they're capable, but I just think UConn's tougher.
Yeah, you got no upsets there going to your Final Four. So give me one other team out here that's going to surprise us from all four brackets.
Well, I think that Xavier is really scary right now because they do have capable players at just about every position. They've got a freshman named Justin Dolman who had a terrific game in his last ball game. He had 13 points and 8 rebounds, and he's got great hands. He runs the floor. He's really polished. He didn't have a great year as far as putting numbers up, but he's playing well at the right time, which is right now. And Lionel Chalmers is playing with a sense of urgency. And I don't think you're going to find a more complete guard than Romain Sato. He may not have put up the numbers in the tournament that Chalmers has, but he is a really capable basketball player.
All right, Jay, we're coming to the moment of truth here. Last question. We've got your Final Four being Kansas, Oklahoma State, Duke, and UConn. Who's going to win?
I think it's going to be UConn. Now, obviously, I think any one of the teams that we've talked about can lose. I mean, in a one-and-out scenario, the fact that, you get a couple bad whistles against you, you can be out of the game with fouls. I still think UConn's got 2 of the 10 best players in the country in Ben Gordon and Emeka Okafor, and I just think they're too strong. If they get their running game going, they're almost impossible to beat. The problem is they don't shoot free throws real well, and if you get into this hack-a-husky business at the end of a ball game where you send them to the free throw line, they're going to have to knock them down. But it's funny, guys. When I was at practice recently for UConn, Jim Calhoun showed me one of their cumulative totals for how they shoot free throws in practice. At the time, they had shot over 38,000 free throws as a team and had made 80% of them. So there's a little disconnect with how they shoot them in practice and how they shoot in games.
It usually is, RK. If I got the winner that Jay has, I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks, Jay. Jay Billis, boys and girls. We're taking a break, but when we come back, does Stevie Francis deserve to get suspended for swearing on national TV? And is Warren Sapp headed to California to compete or collect?
Mail Time is brought to you by MSN Mail. Life's better with the butterfly. Come see how at msn.com.
There are things to talk about beyond the tournament. Let's fish them out of the email box. Let's see what we got first here, Danny. Steve Francis cursed on national TV yesterday and now faces a possible suspension. Athletes should not be held responsible for inappropriate comments made during improvised interviews that are held at inopportune moments. Can we roll that clip?
Steve, what happened there at the end of the half?
Some bull, man. That's all I'm saying.
See, this is the only thing that we ever remember from what sideline reporters get. You get Roy Williams cursing, you get Shaq cursing, you get Lloyd Carr all bent out of shape about something. This is what they're there for. Otherwise, in the history of sideline reporting, when do you remember something functional or good or informative coming out of one of these
I tell you one thing, and that coaches are one thing, but players in an emotional situation, and Steve Francis, by the way, apologized immediately afterward to the commissioner and everybody who heard it. And I don't blame Steve Francis. He is in an emotional basketball game where he is not only asked, but required to be in an emotional pitch to play this game. Right. And now you want him to come out and say nice with the sideline reporting? That's junk. All right? Get to the second one.
Got some good, healthy outrage from you, finally.
Carmelo held himself out of the final 6 minutes of the game against the Pistons because teammates criticized his shot selection. He apologized, but come on. Scottie Pippen got stained for the rest of his career by sitting out 1.8 seconds. Doesn't Melo deserve a similar black mark?
Little different situations. You're not in a playoff game. You're not at the last moment. You're in a blowout. But beyond that, we forget this stuff. Magic Johnson got his first coach fired. We forget if you keep winning. We'll forget anything if you keep winning.
Magic also lost track of the time left in a playoff game when he was very young. This guy's 19 years old. And all these people who say, oh, it's fine to let the high school kids in, fine. Then understand that there's a maturation process. This is not a bad kid. He tries to win every single night out. He's a gamer. He did something, and he apologized right away to everybody. Not some phony apology. He said, my bad.
How surprising is it, though, that LeBron James hasn't had a bad public moment yet,
no,
despite always having the
very poised, and Carmelo is very frustrated by Denver losing down the stretch. So Spike Lee says the white media have overrated Larry Bird, while Bob Ryan says Vandy is too white to win. I'm confused. Is the media biased for white players or against
No,
them.
see, I'm not allowed to say anything here. There's a complete double standard here.
Why is that?
As the white man, I'm not allowed to say anything, or they'll come. I say the wrong thing, they'll come out. You could say the same thing. If I say something and if you say it, yes, they'll come out here and grab me with one of those vaudeville canes.
Do I
and
need to
yank
bring
me
you
off
my
the set.
bag full of hate mail?
You don't
every
get hate
day?
mail. You're
Really?
beloved.
Really?
You're Mayor McCheese.
I'll show it to you sometime. And I know you don't get as much as hate mail as I do, but this whole thing
Yes, again.
is
I get a lot
the
of hate
culture
mail.
of basketball allows for a racial discussion that can be charged.
You can't discuss race now, Mike.
You
can't.
you
It's the
have to discuss race. And by the way, Spike Lee's been talking about Larry Bird. This is in part a New York-Boston thing. For years and years and years, people talk, White Men Can't Jump is the name of a movie. That's race is part of the discussion in basketball, and if people are too sensitive to deal with that, then watch something else. Watch figure skating, okay? That's the deal. Yeah, and I'm a brother saying that. That's the deal with that. How come nobody's talking about the Pistons lately? They've won 8 straight, beating their opponents by an average of 20-plus points. Seems to me the West may have some competition in the finals.
We should be paying attention to this team because it was a little lost before it got Rasheed Wallace, was a little lost for the first few games afterward. But now Rasheed Wallace, we found out that he can play some defense. We found out he could do something in Portland other than get arrested and do bad things. And now you've got Detroit with Larry Brown. They're gelling. They're the best team in the East.
Gelling?
They're gelling.
They're gelling?
Like
Not like a felon.
No, like in Portland, it was like a felon.
Okay, here's the deal. The West now, every team seems flawed, including Sacramento. They're having to work Chris Webber back in, and these people who are booing Webber in Sacramento are idiots, okay, because they can't win without Webber. But all the Western teams, Minnesota hasn't won any playoff series. They seem flawed. Don't tell me the Lakers are a juggernaut until they get everybody back.
This isn't what anybody wants to see, though. This is quicksand basketball. It's
you don't think Detroit or Indiana could win?
I don't think that anybody wants to see Detroit slow down Sacramento. I don't think it's what they want to see.
Last one. What's with Warren Sapp going to Oaktown? I thought he wanted to play for a winner, not a retirement home.
This is always the accusation that gets made when people go for money, but I don't think that any of these guys, I think all their egos are so substantive, they never think that they're going to lose where they're going. They always think that they're going to make that team be able to win. And besides, he's perfect in that uniform.
He is perfect in that uniform. And I think it's a good place for him. And the Raiders, they're not thinking they can't win. Yeah, excuse me, retirement home. All these guys were old when they went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So they want to make one more run with this group, and they've added Ted Washington and Warren Sapp is what the Raiders need. Some defensive
they were
personnel.
last in run defense last year, but they need a quarterback, too, and Warren Sapp can't do that.
So you're saying Gannon is done forevermore, and they have nobody else on their roster who can play?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he needs a little bit of help.
They need a lot of help, but they're trying to get it now. It's time for a break, but don't go anywhere because we've still got to talk about Tiger Woods. After his worst finish in 5 years, is there a reason for concern?
Pardon the interruption. Presented by Guinness Draft Stout. Drink responsibly. Brilliant. And in part by Gap.
Happy time, people. Happy 92nd birthday to Carl Malden. Yes, Kitty's a history lesson. If you're up late at night, you might catch Malden on Streets of San Francisco reruns, but his career highlight was winning an Oscar for his role as Mitch in my pick for greatest movie ever, Streetcar Named Desire.
How old was he when he was doing Street of San Francisco? 92?
Must have been 70, right? Maybe it was like 40 years ago.
75-year-old actor.
Happy anniversary to the two-point conversion on this day 10 years ago. You were adopted by the NFL. The good news is fewer ties and more drama. The bad news is head coaches going for 2 when they should not.
I'm always stunned at how bad coaches are at math in the NFL. They can get everything else right, but they always screw this up.
They always go for it too early, that's for sure. Happy trails to Veterans Stadium. You were imploded yesterday by 3,000 pounds of explosives. Former Philly Greg Luzinski and the Philly Fanatic did the honors. I'd love to have helped. The Vet was the worst modern stadium ever.
Do you really need a mascot and a bull? You're blowing up a stadium. Isn't that entertainment enough?
It's always got to be entertaining. Time to find out what we messed up. Let's go to Substitute Stat Boy.
Okay, guys, you had Xavier winning 14 out of 15. They've won 15 out of 16. Let's give them full credit. And in the Steve Francis story, the NBA has actually fined them $25,000. There will be no suspension.
That's an expensive word, Michael. That's how much the Washington Post pays you per word right there.
You're right. Original Stat Boys wearing down after pulling double duty. They got to man up, okay? We're running out of show. Let's get to the big finish. Tiger finished 46th at Bay Hill. Reason for concern?
He needs to win another major to get us off his back about getting married and about scuba diving. Charles Barkley wants to enter the Hall of Fame as a Sun, not a Sixer. This is the wrong choice, Michael.
He took the Suns to the finals, not the Sixers. He's right.
He's a Sixer.
John Lynch is joining the Broncos. Good choice.
Gives him a much harder hitting secondary all by himself. Mark Pryor may start the season on The DL, you're already nervous,
No, I'm not
aren't you?
just nervous. I'm terrified, okay?
And should be.
Last one, Dawn of the Dead, is the #1 movie in America. Explain that.
We are a nation of idiots, my friend.
We must be, because I've never heard of Dawn of the Dead.
Zombies is what's getting it done now. We're out of time. Tony's back tomorrow, finally. Thankfully, I'm Dan Le Batard.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow.